We must get rid of that bitch of an American girl. Vanish. She must vanish. Make her disappear. Understand? She can eat or drink anything, listen.
And that was a clip from one of my favorite foreign horror films, Suspiria. This is Curtis, and this is Movies the Podcast.
This is Jordan.
This is Brenda.
This is Rob.
So I know it's been a while since we've seen each other. Let's.
And this is Dan.
Oh, Dan, I'm sorry. Rob's head was blocking me. I forget that you're here sometimes.
It's not that big.
Well, it's foreign horror, so should it be Le Dan?
Le Dan. Then it would be a French horror movie. It's not a French horror movie. That is our topic today. It's going to be foreign horror. Oh, that's cool. So start getting your lists out. You can go to Slant. They have a wonderful list on the best horror films, but there's a lot of foreign horror.
I
in there.
Googled
From the best, from the aughts. And I like how there's American and horror and foreign on that list.
And there's a lot of foreign on this list, which is really cool. So grab your list while we catch up, and that way you kind of know what we're talking about, and you can catch up and get some of your favorites. But let's catch up. What have everyone been doing? What have you been watching?
I've been watching Brian K. Vaughan's Under the Dome.
Oh, is it good? I heard the second episode wasn't as good.
It wasn't, but I like the stage that it's setting. Why the Last Man, the comic book series. I love that comic book series and hope that eventually they will get their shit together and make it into a movie. But I'm enjoying it. I didn't realize it was produced by Steven Spielberg as well. So the only thing that disappointed me is I was reading about the review about the second episode, and it was meant to be only a 13-episode miniseries. But now CBS is trying to figure out a way to extend that into a second season, which I'm just like, just let it end. Why does it have to continue?
I guess that's true. I don't know. I started watching... actually, not to skip over that, but they were doing an article which is really good about all the Stephen King miniseries, and it was rating them. And he's had a lot of miniseries. Like, a lot of his books have been made into miniseries.
The Stand, Tommyknockers.
It. The Langoliers. Right? Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
A Langolier.
The Shining, they made that, which is on the list of the worst, which is terrible.
He just keeps...
Hey, he gotta make some money.
He's just churning them out.
Yeah, I know.
You and I watched... This is 40.
Have you guys seen that yet? Get off your phones.
I have to check my...
I say it, I get a dirty look. You say it. Oh, yeah, sure.
That's how you say it.
Yes, Miss Chastain.
Yeah.
Mistress Chastain.
We watched This Is 40. Rob and I had seen it, but we watched it.
I hadn't seen it.
Oh, you hadn't seen it?
No, you and Justin had seen it.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah, I saw it when it came out.
I was super hungover from Pride. I couldn't...
Jordan, have you seen it?
Seen what?
This is 40.
No.
Oh my
I
God.
refused to see it.
No, what did you think,
I
Rob? Because we didn't get to
boycotted it.
talk. I had to leave before.
You did. You immediately went to a date.
It wasn't a date.
Yes, it was.
Date, quote unquote.
I loved it. From beginning
What
to
did
end.
you like about it?
You haven't seen...
Because the trailer to me seemed so
No,
vile.
I didn't see it in the theaters. The trailer just didn't appeal to me.
The reason I didn't want to see it in theaters was I was so disappointed in Funny People that I was just like, I can't make it. I can't do another 2.5 hour comedy.
But tell them what's so great about it.
It felt completely relatable about your fears of growing old and these realizations that, fuck, I'm there. The life just, the good years are, getting further and further behind me. And, they have a great family, and, there's some of the struggles that our friends were complaining about. It's like, oh, they should have been more financially dependent at this point. But,
That's just a lot of people have that problem.
I think that's also the point too. Like you said, that not just your youth are your good years. It's just kind of what you make of it. And like you said, I think it's becoming more of a reality now. Like you and I,
we're getting older.
Yeah, you and I just turned 30, and even
How cute. That's so adorable.
Well, no, it's true. And you sort of look at problem. I mean, as we get older, it's not like I'm like relating to 6-year-olds, but God, I probably am at this point. But the problems in being in long-term relationships and the things they talk about and the issues they have, it felt very real. And I think one of the things you can hate about the movie, which we've referenced, is they're pretty not 1%ers, but they have a lot of money. Mm-hmm. But the whole point of the movie is they're irresponsible with their money, and they never say it. They're never like, we're irresponsible, but a lot of it is about the things we get from our parents. And he's give his dad like $80,000 over a couple of years to borrow. And it just shows how his financial irresponsibility kind of came from his dad. And so that was one of the things that kind of looped through the whole movie. They both were really irresponsible as a couple. And then Stop squinting those eyes. Jordan.
I'm just hearing first world problems.
Well,
And
it,
what
not-
are your problems? Second
Yeah.
world problems?
My problem does not include loaning my father $80,000 and having $80,000.
well,
to
let's
loan my
not
father.
get. I think it's one of those things. It's a movie.
Yeah.
Well, not the base. It's basically them not being where they thought they were going to be at that age. That I can relate to.
Yep.
I thought it was fucking funny. The whole movie, we were laughing.
I love the
Shit.
beginning where she was like, I want to shop at Tootsie's and Aunt Taylor Loft.
The little girl goes, I hope I don't get my period and act crazy. The kids were hilarious. There's
You're
this-
pregnant? Let's get an Asian one. Well, she's not Asian. You're not Asian.
She's like, we can buy one. Yeah, it had a lot of funny lines, and I think, I can see a lot of the problems people have, but, it's entertaining. The Leslie Mann is
I do love Leslie.
hilarious and funny, and I still think she should have gotten an Oscar nomination for Knocked Up, but she's just... I really do. I think she's heartbreaking in that movie. And
She was great in The Bling Ring. She plays one of
really?
the moms. Yeah.
I think she's fantastic, and I think that's kind of her story. Those are her kids in the movie. Her husband wrote it, so I think she is the best person. And Melissa McCarthy is hilarious. The end credit sequence, dying. It's Melissa McCarthy just riffing.
Probably, I'm going to start with Karen Carpenter's head. I'm going to rip her head off, and I'm going to drink her blood. And then I'm going to come back and light you on fire. I'm going to light you all on fire. But I'm going to start with you, Jill. I'm going to fucking torch you.
What is he? She's like, shut up, Jan. I'm glad your husband's dead. If I were him, I'd kill myself too.
Yeah, she's like, nobody likes you. She's like, I'm gonna jackknife you too. You look like you're in a bank commercial. She's like, I'm gonna stand up and jackknife you too. And what I just
How
realized,
was this movie? I'm
just-
gonna immediately Netflix this,
You should.
and you will know on Facebook exactly how I feel about it.
Yeah, it would be like
Minute
3
it is.
paragraphs long on your Facebook. about
3?
that.
Are you the one that keeps putting TLDR on my face?
What's
Too
that?
long, didn't read.
You can do that.
You can do that.
Hashtag TLDR.
I was worried
I got it tattooed.
that it wouldn't be able to do it. You're like, I've been
It's
doing
the
it.
YOLO of a year.
Somewhere where nobody will see it.
Well, I've been
Oh, people
doing.
will see it.
Oh, for real.
Next to my ZQL bottle.
I've been doing a tiny experiment. I have a lot of movies.
It just clicked.
Oh, your sequel. Ugh.
I'll post the picture on the website.
I have a lot of movies, so I
everyone can see it.
decided that I was not going to buy any more movies
Until you've seen.
until I've watched every movie I own.
He went through his list. He went through a stack of movies, and he has 5 or 6 that he has never seen.
Yeah, 8. They were just sitting there. I'd never seen them, and I owned them.
I have way more than 8. Because
No, I mean
worked at a
8,
video store.
8 that I'd never seen.
No, that's what I'm talking
Oh,
about.
seriously?
Yeah, I have a stack of DVDs that I have not watched.
Listen, I went
That
through.
you've never seen, period.
Yeah.
I went through a breakup. Okay, so I found things I didn't know about.
But I found a loop in this deal here. He can't buy movies for himself, but if he wants something, he can buy it for me.
I got Rob a gift. Can we watch this? So I bought Rob for his birthday. Rob just had his. Yeah, it was your birthday.
Yeah.
And he just watched the Nightmare on Elm Street documentary called Never Sleep Again.
Which you guys haven't seen.
I've been.
I haven't
Oh,
seen
you
it,
would
but I
love
want to see
it.
it. I want to see it.
Just set
It's-
aside 4 hours.
It's immersive. It doesn't feel like, God, this is 4 hours.
No.
But you want to watch it.
This isn't going to be another Room 237.
No.
Debacle.
No, it's fantastic.
It's so
the,
good.
The same people who did the Nightmare on Elm Street documentary, they tried to do a Scream one and they couldn't do it. It's not as effective. But the Nightmare on Elm Street, because the time expands so much, it was really, really good. So I was really surprised about that. But yeah, that's my experiment. So I have so many great movies that I don't even know I own. I'll be at the store and I'll buy something and I'm like, oh, I own this, so I have to return it. So
Or you'll say, oh, I just got it on Blu-ray. I only had it on DVD. And then so you pawn off the
Yes.
DVD versions on me.
yeah, oh, I did kind of do that. So it's kind of cool, but
I
it's
didn't want Hannah and her sisters, but I got it
On Blu-ray?
on
Who
DVD.
needs- Whoa, hold on. Who needs Hannah and her sisters on
do.
Blu-ray?
I love Woody Allen. I just needed the clarity of his
found him-
vision.
Oh my Jesus Lord.
And Suni's in it.
Of course she is.
So, no, that was like 5 years before they started dating.
Is she really in it?
Yeah, all the kids are in it. That's
Oh.
her apartment. They filmed in Mia Farrow's
Oh
apartment.
my goodness.
Which reminds me to tell you a story about Mia Farrow and Woody Allen's son. But anyways, so
Oh, he's actually hot.
good. Did you see him? He works for the Obama administration. He is a fine. So anyways, sorry to fag out there. But
Thanks, Obama.
so it's been really cool. It's been really cool to kind of go back and, you buy films, and if you're like Brenda and I, we have a ton. I don't know. You guys don't have as much. And it's just like, I forget what I have, and then I keep watching more, and
I open a video store based on that. I'm like, I have a lot of movies. Let's just start renting these out.
See, Rob, I don't know why you don't do that anymore.
I got a bunch of like cult classics, like Basket Case and
Oh God,
The Prowler. I was like, I need to watch these.
Well, it's just interesting stuff that like I said, Criterions that I bought because they were on sale, or I went to like is it audiovisual?
Audiovisual.
Audiovisual. I would just like grab something. I'm like, wow, that's $3. So it's been really cool. So you might hear me talk about a movie that I've seen 20 times, but I want to watch it again. It's taken me about a year, I think, a year or two.
Yeah.
About a year. I'm going to do it in a year. I gotta start buying movies soon. So anyways, if you guys want, unless somebody wanted to, we could kind of get to our main topic of the foreign film.
I know I personally can't wait
Jordan
to
is
talk about
foreign
my favorite
horror.
foreign horror films.
Jordan, you can be honest with the audience.
I rarely am.
Which audience?
I'm actually not Parker Posey's cousin.
He puts his heart on this microphone week after week.
Among other
Not
things.
his heart. So I
That's
think,
why it's...
Is that why I got yours today? It smells.
It's something pulsating.
Thank you, Brenda.
so
we make Brenda sit on the side of the table
yeah.
with me.
So we started our episode with a clip from Suspiria, which is a Dario Argento movie from the 70s, which I think is a fantastic film that you have to watch a couple of times to really appreciate, Rob. But Dario Argento,
I roll my eyes.
Dario Argento is one of those directors who they consider him a master like John Carpenter, but much like John Carpenter, he's only made 2 good films. And so we respect and love the 2 films that
That was
are
a
great.
jab at you. You didn't even
We already dispelled that.
I don't know if I dispersed it into the world.
You asked me name 3. I did, and then
There was
some.
the after
So
the
you were
second.
faced.
Oh, I did it to Jenny too. I told Jenny to name me 3 John Carpenters. There was a lot of umming. But Argento did Suspiria, which is fantastic. If you haven't seen it, watch it. And then he did a really great film called Opera, which is a great foreign horror film. Thing I love about his movies, they're all dubbed. You can speak whatever language you want. He doesn't care. He's going to dub you later. So on set,
Really?
on set they're speaking Italian, German, English. Hey, let's do our lines, and then we'll dub you later. Don't worry about it.
I did not know that.
I know there's times where it's necessary, but I mean, sometimes it just takes me right out of the film because you can really tell.
Oh yeah,
I
you
want
can
to watch
tell.
them now just for that.
You can experience them again. But I think we all love horror at this table. And
No, I don't.
you love horror, you just don't want to ever admit it.
I am a pussy.
Oh, shit. She went there.
I won't say why.
Pedantic.
Hashtag she
Pussy.
went there.
Oh.
Tell us why, Rob.
Hashtag yes, she did.
I just feel that not many of them are scary anymore. Like, what's the last really scary horror movie you saw that you really loved? So it's hard for me.
I think Insidious.
Insidious.
I
yeah.
really like
Which
The remake of The
last
Women.
night as I was falling asleep to what?
The remake of The Women.
I thought you said the other Berlin girl. I'm like,
Also the other
Also-
Berlin girl.
Did you, Rob? Did you watch Insidious?
no, I was falling asleep last night and I was thinking about you as I always do. So
He's talking to me. Yeah.
so I thought
He
I
was
need to
looking
watch
at me,
in-
bitch.
I need to watch Insidious. But
Don't watch it alone.
Why?
No,
It's
Rob,
terrifying.
watch it alone.
It's terrifying.
Tell me when you're watching
I-
it, though,
I-
because I want to hang out on your patio while you're watching it.
I'm gonna watch it tomorrow.
I saw it as like a midnight advance with a close friend, and on the ride back home, like I was like kind of quiet. I was a little creeped out.
Yeah, it's one of those movies. A lot of horror movies drop off nowadays. They're sort of scary until you get to the end, like Mama. And then what was the one with Ethan Hawke and nobody had a flashlight?
Sinister.
Sinister, same thing.
No one had
Yeah,
a flashlight.
My complaint with Sinister is that a huge chunk of it was given away in the trailer,
Thank you. Even the
Which
ending
is
the
true of
poster.
a lot of horror films.
Yeah.
but they leave something. I was like, man, like almost all the major scares are in the trailer. Like I knew it was
It
coming
still
up.
scared me. Well, and because we're going to talk about, Brenda's going to host American horror next week. So I think let's kind of like, what foreign horror films do you guys love? What foreign horror films?
But that's the difference. I think American for me.
Are we
has
going
let
to do
me
American
down.
versus foreign?
No. I think they both have their own merits. But for me, American horror, or was it you I was talking to about this? No, I was talking to my friend about.
It wasn't me, it was one of his friends.
No, my friend Kuhn. I was talking to him about how we're so used to all of these crappy movies being churned out by our Hollywood system that it's always hard to see the good ones in there. Whereas foreign films, often only the good ones
Make it over here.
Make it over here. So there's a
Which
lot.
I think is a true statement.
Whenever I was going through making this list, I was like, there's a lot of great horror films on here that I just genuinely loved. So maybe I am a horror fan. I just hate crappy ones.
Well, and I think
I'm not a diehard like you, where you go out and watch every single horror movie.
Yeah, I'll don't get me wrong. I'll be disappointed by a horror film, but I don't know. Like as soon as they come out, I'm excited to go see them. I'll make a point to go see them.
That's what blows my mind. No matter how many times you've been burned, it's like that woman coming back. He only hit me once, but I was still coming back to him. You still keep going.
I guess in this,
We need to work on our metaphors.
in this metaphor, the sex is really good. That's why I keep going back.
Oh shit!
Because it's a little scary.
Boom.
So should I just set feminism back?
All right,
all
guys, and that wraps up this episode.
Yeah.
I thought I was the
Jordan
biggest
sets
misogynist
feminism
on the
back.
podcast. Apparently, it's Brenda.
Let's
I'm
go.
sorry. Like compared to you three, like my butchness is coming out. See what you guys are doing.
That's what I tell people.
You have to compensate for us.
Compared to
Well, no, and Rob makes a good point too. Is there's we watched and we talked about this a couple weeks ago. We talked about Inside, that French horror film, and the French people who are making horror films really were throwing out some hits on their hands. There was Them,
the new French Extremity.
the new French Extremity. I would guess because it was all gory and body parts.
Yeah.
So it was Martyrs, High Tension, Inside, Them. That might have been
Inside? Did you
Inside,
say-
yeah.
you said Inside.
And they were sort of these very gory Texas Chainsaw Massacre horror films, which the French horror films I'd seen in the past, like the one with Girl Without Eyes, Girl Without a Face, they were not gory. They were graceful.
Oh, you mean Eyes Without a Face?
Eyes Without a
I always
Face.
the Billy Idol song.
I'm like, what am I talking about? It's on Criterion.
I love that movie.
It's fantastic, but it's slow and kind of that grand guignol, over the top, like 60s kind of stuff. And this French horror was rough and violent and gory.
It's not for like weak stomach. For the weak
No.
stomach.
And you think that American... And it's funny because the gore works.
Yes.
It's not like here where it's like Hostel 1 and the Saw movies where the gore is just too much and you're like, this is no plot. Inside and High Tension, even Martyrs has a really good plot, good characters, and the gore kind of just adds something.
Yeah, Martyrs was really unsettling for me, but
Unsettling's a good word.
But at the end of it, I mean, you appreciated that like a movie made you feel that way. I think
It's kind of a survivor's tale, isn't it? I mean, in a way, not to spoil it, but she'd been hurt by them before and she went back to get them.
Martyrs? No, I think she went to her friend, remember?
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, for me, I think most of these films, it's as opposed to just like this figure with a mask or something like that, or this mystery, it's like a flat out other person who you wouldn't think, just a stranger doing this to you, and just not even hiding.
Just
they're
right
just
out.
right out, exactly, telling you to your face why they're doing it, and almost taking joy in it, or just doing
That's
it for the hell of
very
it.
French. I will tell you right now. That's very
every time they
French.
serve them there, that's the way they do it.
That's how they do it. They just serve it. Well, and I think, and if you look, maybe it's sort of the Spanish, and I know these are two separate countries, but Spanish and Mexican horror films like The Orphanage or The Devil's Backbone, they're graceful, they're nonviolent, they're not gory at all. Kind of quiet, scary films. And I think it's interesting that, what comes from each country lately, and then you can look at some of the Asian horror films and you'll never see anything freakier.
It seems a little appropriate right now just to keep that topic going if we're going to discuss gore, because you guys are talking about the how effective gore can be in a film. I mean, you talked about Inside, and I was going to slightly disagree with you that I felt that the story didn't need that gore, but it did heighten the film.
Yeah.
I had The Descent. I don't know if it's considered it's a UK film.
Okay, breathe, okay? Hey, listen to me. What are you afraid of? What are you so afraid of? You can move. Sarah, look at me. Listen, the worst thing that could have happened to you has already happened, okay? And you're still here.
Did you see The Descent?
Yeah.
No.
It's about those group of women who are exploring uncharted cave.
Spelunking, there you go.
I'm claustrophobic, so
Yeah,
I tend to
exactly.
stay
This
away from
movie,
films about
It's claustrophobic.
I
caves.
Mess with you.
I saw it in theaters, and I almost had a panic attack in theaters.
Oh, and the scene where she's stuck in the rock and her friend's trying to pull her.
Because the
No,
basic
no.
basic premise of the film is like, let's go spelunking, and they think they're going to the one mountain, and then the girl's like, nah, I lied to you guys. We're going to one that's been uncharted. Nobody's ever been here.
That's why I'm not friends with any people like that.
You're like that.
So they,
That's why I'm friends with fat people. They will never. They'll maybe take you to like 59
go to this
Diner
crazy-
instead of House of Pies, but they're never going to take
that
you to
can
the
be
wrong
scary.
cave.
But what I like about The Descent too, and Rob, you're saying it's a simple premise, but it's not. There's a betrayal in there with the
No,
friends that
that-
creates like this
I
ratcheting
wasn't-
of tension.
I actually wasn't going to say that it's a simple
You were
premise.
implying that.
No, I love the premise behind it, but I love how effective the gore was within that film. You know, when you finally, on top of the fear of the claustrophobia, and you're like, fuck, these girls are doomed, you add the element of the creatures that are inside the caves, and the gore that comes out of that. I loved it. I loved it.
I didn't
And
even
if
think
you
of
think about
blood?
it took them a while to get to that.
Yeah.
Because it really focused on just the claustrophobic.
To me, the thing that scared me the most is like, fuck, they're stuck in this cave. How are they going to get out? And then that happens. Like, they still have this to get through.
But you know, it reminded me of Alien. Alien was like that. Like it kind of built the characters for a long time, and then
Before
all of a
we ever
sudden,
saw
you didn't
the
see the
monster,
alien for
yeah.
like almost an hour.
I would love to see Descent with Jordan.
No, it would be. It made me. I'm not even claustrophobic.
I'm getting like my chest is getting tight just
Talking
listening to you
about
No,
talk
that
about it.
sequence. Oh, yeah.
No, yeah, I think maybe, like with the films we're talking about, it kind of digs into, for lack of a better term, realistic fears. Because a lot of times
Yeah.
with American ones, it's kind of they are scary, but it's almost like, when is that actually going to happen? When is this doll
See,
going to come to life?
that scares me more than anything.
What
The
what if?
The Strangers didn't scare me as much because like, oh, a human being's trying to kill me. All right. But a ghost is trying to kill me. What the fuck?
See, I'm on the other
I
side
can't
of that
call the
because
police.
I'm with him.
I
I'm
am
with Jordan.
Same
one
here.
of the things like I don't like, the thing that creeps me out about movies, like I know they're crap movies, but like the Final Destination films, like because it's a toaster killing you. I have a toaster in my house. I do not have a space station that's been taken over by aliens, but I do own a toaster. But it's that the real, like the Strangers freak me out.
Yeah.
Oh, I bet.
Like
Because it's something like, this can actually
this
happen
can
to me.
actually happen. This is something that happens, and it plays on those
It gives us such
those
plausibility.
fears. And it came out around the time all the home invasions were a big deal in the news, and so it was just, oof.
I think these movies kind of play on those fears, especially with the claustrophobia. Like the three of us don't even have. Well, I don't think any of us here are actually claustrophobic, but I mean the three of us, from what I'm
We're
hearing,
out of the
don't have
We're out of the
tendencies.
closet for a reason.
And we actually saw it in the
It was
theater,
too
like out in the open.
It was in the theater. It felt small.
Yeah, exactly.
It was effectively directed. And I also think like if we move to another country, so that's the UK, you can move down to Australia, Wolf Creek.
So, where did you live?
Oh, I get around, You never know where I might pop up.
What do you actually do?
I can tell you, but then I'd have to kill you.
Oh my god.
Is an interesting
Wolf
example.
Creek.
I was not crazy about it, but I think because it was hyped to death when it first came out. And
Yeah, they try to make it into a franchise.
like a Blair Witch
Yeah.
kind of like it's the best,
And you can kind of tell as I've watched some foreign films, like how I guess our American sense of viewing is. Because one of my complaints when I first saw Wolf Creek was, it took too long to get to the action, or the pacing is.
The
but then,
pacing was-
when, once you rewatch it, you see that's one of the brilliant things about it. You're kind of going on this journey with these three people, and they're completely unsuspecting, and they're just they're just in the outback, enjoying it, and then all of a sudden, like from one moment to the other, shit gets real.
Yeah, it did. I've never seen any other Australian horror movie that I can think of, but I know there was like a rash of like Rest Stop, and there was of course those imitators right after. I did see another Australian horror movie called The Lucky Ones, about a girl who steals a boy on prom night and chains him down. Did you see it?
Yes.
It wasn't as I thought it was gonna be more disturbing. It was kind of funny.
It was cute actually.
Okay. It was horrific. Like the
Things
things
I miss while I'm watching.
I think we got ourselves a love connection, fellas.
Well, no, the things that she was doing to him and the family was doing to him, they're horrific. But it had such a dark sense of humor. I was like, okay, is this what we're going to joke about? But
And today we learned more about Curtis.
But
I'm into it.
It's obvious. It's I guess, sort of based on it or remake, but the we mentioned The Strangers, but then, them, or I don't know how to pronounce it, Il in French.
Il. No, yeah, no S. Il.
Il. It's kind of a remake of them. And when I found that out, I watched it, and that was, they're both equally creepy because it's kind of the same premise, obviously, that they're kind of at this, country house, they're going about their business, and, they're just so isolated that, these kids come and start fucking with them.
Well, I think that's
just for the hell of it.
That's what's cool about horror movies like that. Is like I think some of these things are relatable, and that's the things we connect to. It doesn't matter what language is spoken, and I think sometimes a foreign horror film is easier to watch because there's not a lot of dialogue. Mm-hmm. And so, like when we were watching Inside, we were talking about that because there's not really a lot of dialogue. It's a horror movie.
Maybe those moments of humor is just, it breaks the tension. It gives you a moment to breathe between kills.
Inside didn't have no sense of humor, but I think it's. I hate to say culturally because I don't want to stereotype an entire country. Because I would never do that. But
it's so much easier when you
might
do
run
that.
it one day for all you know.
I might want to run a country film. But like the French horror films that we discussed, they have no sense of humor. A German horror film, there's no sense of humor. But Australians, there's a sense of humor. Like
Dead Snow, that had a lot of sense
That's
of
Norwegian.
humor. Oh, never mind. There's 2 South Korean films that I really enjoy that they're on this list for me. The Host and Thirst. 2 films that I think...
still have not seen Thirst.
2 films that I think balanced horror and comedy pretty well. What'd you think of The Host?
The Host was... You're right that it did balance the comedy with the horror, but I felt it was a little sci-fi, and so it took the kind of the horror away. So it wasn't... It was like more like Cloverfield than it was like...
It did, but man, it was such a roller coaster because, it was like such a back and forth. It gave you hope, but then it took it away, and then back and forth because of this little girl. I think that was like the most fear in anybody with, a kid or just a close family member. Kind of that's what gets you, that you have this family member that's in trouble and you don't know what to do to save them.
Those are South Korean. I had no clue.
Thirst is the
Park Chan-wook's
film.
Have you guys
vampires?
Yeah.
Did he do Stoker?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
And he did the Vengeance trilogy.
Yeah.
Yes.
What's up, Stan?
Well, no, I'm just agreeing because, huge fan. Audition and 3.
I was gonna bring up Audition.
Okay.
But Audition's Japanese.
3 or
Japanese
Extremes?
3 Extremes.
3 Extremes.
Audition.
I have seen Audition.
Tricks you.
ほら、目の下もとても痛いでしょ?
It's tricky.
That messes with your head.
Because it's
Dad,
like...
let's have an audition for your perfect new wife.
And he finds her... So Audition is a gonzo director, Takashi Miike's film. It's about a man,
Is
a
it
lonely... Miike? I don't know. M-I-I-K-E.
The man who made children's shows like Zebra Boy, and which is a great superhero flick.
Yeah,
I've never seen it.
Takashi Miike fan.
Oh, well, then I got another Miike for you.
And then we also have Ichi the Killer, great family flick.
I need
Did
to
you also
watch
do
it.
Visitor Q?
I don't know.
I'm not sure it's on this list. So.
Visitor Q.
What was the one I Gozu?
Gozu, yeah, he did that one.
That's a mind fuck.
Yes,
Well,
it is.
What I like about Audition, it's Takashi Miike. What I like about Audition is it sets it up. It's a lonely man who wants to meet a woman, but he doesn't want to get out there, and he decides to hold an audition so he can ask for something very specific. And he finds this girl who's, I think, a ballerina dancer. She's petite, she's sweet,
very quiet.
He kind of dates her, and I can't remember. It's about halfway through the film when he calls her, and she's sitting next to a trash bag, waiting for the phone to ring with her black hair like covering her face. And
I think it's pretty early after he meets her.
is it? And the bag moves. Because there's somebody in there. And then later on in the movie, she pukes into a bowl for the bag to eat, the person that's in the bag. It's disturbing. I won't even tell you the ending because I feel like so many people have talked about the ending. And it kind of ruins it, but it is shocking, to say the least.
I remember reading, I don't know if it was a review or what, but it was kind of a commentary on how Japanese society views women. And I thought that was kind of interesting how it kind of turned it on.
It's like there's a danger and and I think that's interesting yet again, not to I keep prefacing myself and not to stereotype an entire country or race, but yeah, it's interesting how they view their women as a.
I thought you were going to stop prefacing yourself.
Well, I'm on a podcast. I don't want to offend anybody, but
Too late.
Might as well start now.
Yeah, it views them as sort of these beautiful creatures that can turn on you. And my favorite foreign horror movie, especially from that area, and this is a Miike film as well, is Imprint. It was a Masters of Horror episode that they banned in America.
Yep.
It was they would not air it. And let me tell you something. That when I talk about disturbing films, and I've seen a lot of disturbing films, that film is so disturbing. The sound effects, the visuals, the torture in that movie. It's an hour long. It's like 50 minutes. It's too much. It covers abortion and rape and abuse and prostitution, and there's bamboo shoots and fingernails and knives in your gums, and it's so explicit and intense. And the funny thing is, it's kind of beautiful and sad. And so, I wanted to not watch it.
Yeah, I can't wait till they remake that in a week or two.
What is it?
I can't wait till America remakes that in a week or two.
It'll be like a 2-minute long.
Starring Matt Damon.
Starring Natalie Portman. I don't even know how they'd remake it. What? But
after all this talk about Takashi Miike, I've only seen 2 of his films. I haven't seen that much, so I'm curious to see more of his.
Have you not seen Imprint, Rob?
I've never seen Imprint.
I haven't seen Imprint. We should watch
It's on streaming. It's
on streaming?
I'm pretty.
Yeah, because it was an episode of Masters of Horror.
Oh.
Yeah.
Because I've only seen Audition and Visitor Q.
This one, Dan, you've seen Imprint, right?
Yes.
Dan will tell you,
there's nothing you can watch by him that you walk away going, I can't wait to plant a tree. I mean, everything.
Yeah, you don't feel warm and fuzzy.
No, you really don't. And even his more like the trippy stuff Gozu and stuff like that, you just sit there for about an hour going, what the hell did I just watch?
Renee was like, I need to have a talk with my boyfriend.
Yeah, seriously. I mean, I remember the first movie I saw by his was Ichi the Killer. And I distinctly remember I couldn't make it through half that movie because I've never seen something so raw. I mean, that was literally, I know it was very cartoony, digital special effects and whatnot, but it was just watching a psycho killer with no redeeming qualities whatsoever.
I mean, he was almost like when they kind of, he was almost like a little boy in a way.
Yeah, no, that's exactly what he was. Yeah, and the fact that they just kept torturing people and going further with it, it was just like watching a bunch of guys standing around, okay, we did this scene, I got a toaster in this room, a pitchfork in there, what can we do with it? And they would just make it worse and worse.
Well, that's what
There's that toaster.
My reaction was kind of
it was an insight
what
too.
What the fuck was that? I loved it.
I think there's some benefit, and Rob and I have debated this before, is like Michelle Haneke. I will never be like, oh God, I want to buy a more, or oh my goodness, I cannot wait to show all my friends funny games. But there's art to that.
But you do want to show us funny games.
I do want you to see funny games, or I want you to see Imprint because I do think it's beautiful for its awfulness.
I will give them both the acknowledgement that they challenge you as a viewer. This little blurb that talking about Visitor Q, and it's like, he does not fall into the trappings of
I need to see that one too.
An art house type of director.
It sounds horrific. I just read this paragraph.
Quentin's a huge fan. Quentin Tarantino.
Yeah, Visitor Q, when I saw that in high school, I was
Yeah.
like, what the F is this? Like, this guy has sex with a dead body outside, and the visitor is standing underneath all this woman.
What year did Visitor Q come out?
Maybe 2002 or something.
Oh, well, I wasn't in high school anymore. Sorry, I thought I saw it in
No,
high
I was
school.
just curious.
No,
well, because what I just read about it was talking about reality TV, and that would have been kind of before the reality TV explosion.
Could have been in the time of.
So kind of at the beginning of it, which is interesting.
Cool. What other? I'm trying to think of what other countries we can. I mean, obviously we've covered.
I was going to touch on one.
Go ahead.
I mean, does Canada count? Are we doing?
Yeah, I'd
It's
say
a different.
Thank you.
There was a foreign film I remember. Canadian film. No, I hope it's not The Cube.
No, it's not.
When that movie came out, again, another movie we're like, oh, it's going to be a cheesy sci-fi-esque type movie.
That's an excellent film.
Claustrophobic, and you just...
Justin was just talking about rewatching that movie and how good it was. But I haven't seen it in years. I can't remember if it was...
It's a good film. It holds up really well. I saw it for the first time maybe 3 years ago.
It's effective.
It is, because it's like it's a strong... Twilight Zone episode. It's just all contained in one room.
Hit the nail right on the head right there.
But Canada also produced the movie called Pontypool.
We now take you to Constable Bob Roseland of the Pontypool unit of the OPP. He's on the line live. Constable Roseland, what's happening out there?
At 7 o'clock this morning, our officers answered a 911 call to the Golden Dawn facility to discuss discover a large number of people occupying the building. They seem to be trying to get into the elderly woman's room. And this woman has since died from incidental injuries.
Okay, Grant, apparently these people were chanting something. It's a little creepy. Chanting something.
And what were they saying?
Well, they were repeating things this woman was saying, and she's all senile, so she's babbling about Hitler and some hurricane.
Crazy talk. Get out, Grant.
Okay, thank you, Constable Roseland.
Which I loved. I love films that can take a play on a genre, and this one took a play on zombies. You know, this group of people are stuck in a radio station. It's a snowstorm, and all of a sudden they start getting these reports of something happening, and it's all from that perspective and never leaves the radio station. So they're starting to identify what's happening. But when it starts getting to them, they realize that the infection isn't an infection. It's a mental state, that it happens by a trigger.
Is it like a frequency?
It happens by a certain set of words, and it triggers you. And
oh, that's kind of interesting. I mean, I've seen it. It's been queued up so many times. I've been like, I don't even know what that is, and I go past it.
It's good.
I think if we want to talk about one of the worst, best foreign horror films, we can talk about The Human Centipede.
I'm gonna leave. Bye.
You know what? You know what I think it's effective for Americans.
Thank you, Brenda.
What I think Americans have like this fear, like of traveling, like what's gonna happen to me. The same thing with like the Hostel.
No, it's true, and I think when I was going overseas, that was like one of my greatest fears was like, I'm gonna get kidnapped. I'm gonna be like Heather Matarazzo in the second one. Like,
yeah,
I
was joking. I had like mixed feelings about it when I first left, but you know, one thing was clear. I was like, kind of with what I do with a lot of horror films, like, man, if this hadn't happened, the whole rest of the movie wouldn't have. So I was telling my sister, you can change the title of that movie to Two Bitches Who Can't Change a Tire.
Two bitches who can't change a tire. Two bitches who ate each other's ass for the rest of their lives. But here's the thing about the film. It's disgusting.
I'm going to learn how to change a tire now.
It's poorly made. But let me tell you something.
I didn't find it to be that disgusting.
I thought I was going to throw up. Yeah. Rob was so drunk, he woke up and was disgusted by the film.
You remember that part of that story.
I don't know what it tells you about my internet search history, but it didn't seem that disgusting to me.
Well, no, but the thing about it is, and I was so grossed out by it, and a friend of mine...
He's FaceTiming with someone, and I don't know who.
A friend of mine said something to me that was really interesting. She goes, but wasn't it kind of effective? Wasn't it kind of like, oh, look, we're like those innocent, dumb girls stuck in the, what? This awful, disgusting things happening to us. But then it kind of had a sense of humor. Like...
It was a little playful.
Yeah.
You know,
by the way, the second one is not playful.
I was just going to say that.
The first one was playful. I thought it took it so seriously that if it had a little tongue-in-cheek behind it, I would have bought it.
Well, that was the joke. He was the German. He was so serious,
so
but he was kidding.
It's just like that German concentration camp. Like, it's like...
You see, like, all three of them. Like, he's German, the guy at the head is Japanese, and...
The girls are American.
Yeah, and then, like, there's such
it's an allegory for World War II.
You can,
well, there were no Italians.
You can't... and they can't understand what the other one's saying.
No,
That's a shout-out to my history nerd.
You've seen the second one, Brenda?
Yes.
Yeah, it's...
The fact that it was done in black and white, also.
It's creepy as fuck.
Is there a toaster?
It's really bad.
This is why I eat my Pop-Tarts
cold. I felt
cold.
bad for the actor, because I was like, if I were to see him on the street, I would just...
He's this overweight, dwarfing kind of... He's always sitting in his underwear feeling sad. He wants to kidnap the actress from the Human Centipede movie.
There is nothing wrong with people like that. Trust me. That's where I've been mentally for the last 3 weeks. Eating Tortino's pizzas cold. Because I'm afraid of my toaster oven.
The most disturbing things... Well, I was going to say spoiler alert, but this whole thing has been a spoiler alert. At the end of the film, remember how he ends up killing the parents of that baby, and the baby's stuck in the car?
Yes.
The movie ends and the baby's still in the car crying its head off.
You said Two Bitches That Can't Change a Tire. I love that. Is there any other movie that anybody wants to pop?
Just real quick, I don't know if it counts as horror or if we even brought it up on the show before, but I remember seeing a movie a while ago called Brotherhood of the Wolf.
Oh yeah,
it's a French film. Yeah,
French film.
I don't know if it would be considered horror though.
There's gore, I guess. I don't know.
It's kind of a bit
Like,
horrific.
I think we have a visitor. No. Okay. No, we don't.
We're talking about horror movies. The door keeps. I hear voices.
You're right.
Anyway, yeah, I just want to recognize the fact that everybody has copied from that movie since that movie came out. Like, I mean, not everybody.
That director did Martyrs, though. I think.
Did he? Tom Six?
I think it's Christoph Gaines, isn't it?
Oh no, you're talking about Brotherhood of the Wolf. I'm
Sorry.
talking about
But yeah,
Human
no.
Centipede.
I think he's
Yeah, I just realized like watching that movie and going over it again because I did watch it a few times that a lot of people just lifted from that movie freely, and it's
Oh yeah. Well, and I think. Go ahead.
Well, there was a movie on the list, and it wouldn't automatically have come to me as a horror film.
Don't say Antichrist.
Yeah.
The ground is burning.
The ground is not burning.
Nature is Satan's church.
Do you know what you're saying?
You shouldn't underestimate Eve.
Tell me what you think is supposed to happen in the woods.
It's horrifying, but I don't know if it's a horror. Is it?
I don't know either, but I think it merits a discussion.
Which one?
It definitely merits
Because
a discussion.
I saw it with Rob. We saw it on
Rob-
DVD at your store.
Rob-
remember?
Oh, that's the one that
With the Lars von Trier with-
Selma Blair walked in and she thought we were watching porn.
No, we were watching.
Antichrist. We were watching your bootleg copy from the.
Did you say
Selma Blair?
She walked in.
She walked into my store when she was doing a play here, and we're like, "That's Selma Blair," and we're watching Antichrist,
And there was like screaming coming from
there's
the-
some sex scenes, and she's like, "You're watching porn over there? God bless, God bless."
Oh my god.
Like,
I can't. They didn't fan all over
What
her
I
either.
wouldn't give to masturbate with Selma Blair.
Yeah. No, but it's one of those.
I still have a membership thing.
It's. I'm so
Does she
sorry.
still get the newsletter?
She's the only one.
Yeah, I think it does merit a discussion. It's a
It was
disturbing
his-
film.
It was, from what I understand, his take on a horror film.
It's kind of a witch film. I mean, I guess
It was his
could
take on a
be.
witch
On a horror film. Yeah, I think it's very
It's
very
good
supernatural,
versus evil,
or it has
yeah.
supernatural elements.
I own it. I've watched it. Sometimes I put it on just to feel bad about myself. Have you seen Antichrist, Jordan?
No.
I think you would find it
I think you would
interesting.
love it.
I think you would. It's got a lot
Like,
of.
what would be? Because
What did you think of it, Rob? Because I watched it with you.
I cannot imagine Rob liked it.
I didn't hate it.
Yeah, I kind of like. I didn't love it, but I didn't hate it.
I respect it.
I love that director. You know, even though I hear he's kind of a douche in real life.
I wouldn't mind seeing it again. I think that would be an interesting. I think one of his films would be an interesting film to watch as a group because
That would be a good one.
Leaves so much interpretation, and you walk away with such different feelings from those. That one, the beginning, the sequence with the baby, and it's all slow motion. It's amazing, and then you cut to the end where there's 2x4s and bloody penises. You're like, what the?
And people cutting off clitoris.
Yeah.
A clitoris.
It's emotionally disturbing. I'll let you borrow it.
Charlotte Gainsborough.
Charlotte Gainsbourg, though, let me say,
Willem Dafoe is her husband.
and Lars von Trier is the director. I know we didn't mention that, but it's. I recommend. I think it's a good film to see. It has a lot going on.
So for those listeners that are like me who have not seen a lot of foreign horror films, I'm a big fan of American horror films, but for some reason I've just never seen a lot of foreign horror. And I saw like Ringu, like that was like because I saw The Ring and I said, oh, I'll check this out. I saw Audition, but what would be the one that you think someone should if I went home tonight and Netflix something, what should I Netflix? Would you suggest in foreign horror?
If you could, not to say that
As
a
a horror
I could
fan,
stomach it.
I'm an American horror fan, and I like.
I was going to say
gore.
Martyrs,
I'm
but
okay.
I don't know. But maybe we'll ease you into something else and then eventually watch Martyrs.
High Tension would be a really good one to start. It's
I really liked High Tension.
It's a little American. It's not a lot of dialogue, so you're not like
Do
reading.
not watch the dub version.
Do not watch the dub
Watch the
version.
subtitled.
Okay. What?
High Tension.
High Tension.
I won't watch that.
But I think that's Brenda. I mean, that's a really good way.
Because
And
I want to check some of these out, but
I have a
definitely.
ton. I'll give you some. I have the Blu-ray. I think and for all of our listeners too, if you're like Jordan, you like horror or you don't like horror, but you've not seen a lot of foreign horrors. We've given I think 3,500 examples on this episode. But it's true. Check something out new. Check something out where you don't know the language. If you're listening to us, you probably like film, so it should be
made it to episode
15.
10?
Quick,
Yeah, 15, 16, 15.
if we have time, a quick question to shoot out to our audience and you guys. Do you think maybe American audience are too sensitive for some of the foreign horror films that we like that that we've been talking about, or just foreign horror in general?
Well, I think I was trying to kind of make that point, and you were mentioning it too as we moved through the countries. things are so different for each country, and the issues are so different. And we talked about kind of like the Japanese horror or like the Korean horror and how they treat the women, and things are different for every country, and different sensitivities are different. Like if you lived through World War II in Germany, you can handle a rough horror movie. I mean, do you know what I mean? So sensibilities are really different. And for America, I mean, you see how wish fulfillment our movies are. Yeah. So to have a horrific movie that's horrific.
We don't like having a bad ending. I mean, or an unhappy ending.
Right.
Yeah.
And there's that Americans need sentimentality in their films, and they need. I remember when
it becomes a release.
I know it's not a horror film, but I know when Pan's Labyrinth came out, the scene where the little girl gets shot. Spoiler alert. That I know a lot of people that were really upset by that because that breaks one of the rules. You don't kill children. You don't. That's violence against children. You don't see that on film. You know, it's that
Guillermo del Toro
American
kills children. Yeah, okay.
But it's that,
but he's not American.
It's that American sensibility that you have to have. The whore has to be punished. The good girl has to win. It's like there's little things that we're told as Americans growing up that this is how the world works. That virtuous people win in the end, and there's always a happy ending if you just stick to it. And if the first person to have sex dies.
So basically, if you're going to watch...
subtle lessons.
Look at the ending of Inside. That never would have worked. Spoiler alert. A baby's like basically cut out of a pregnant woman's stomach. That wouldn't work here.
No, and then the villain of the film's body is half burned and she's nursing a baby. So either way. But... well, it was nice.
I'm going to suggest it to my Sunday school class.
For real. It's about saving souls. It was nice talking to you guys. Check us out on the Facebook, on the intraweb.
The Twitter.
The Twatter. We're Movies the Podcast.
The Instagram.
The
gram of Insta.
It's happening. Instagram's happening. We'll Vine a video maybe sometime. Or wait, you don't Vine it. No, sorry.
I have Vine.
But do you Vine your video onto Instagram?
No. Well, Vine's a different app, but now we can put videos on Instagram.
I'm 21, so I know all about this. Brenda and I just
21
graduated.
on each foot.
I'm going to put up a flyer at the grocery store if anyone's interested.
Green sheet.
It brings you buyers.
This is Movies the Podcast, and this is Curtis.
And this is Jordan.
This is Brenda.
This is Rob.
Bye.
Stan.
Bye, Stan.
Bye, Stan.
This is Stan.
Second world problems.
My problem does not include loaning my father $80,000 and having $80,000.
Well, let's not get. I think it's one of those things that's a movie.
Yeah.
Well, and at the base, it's basically them not being where they thought they were going to be at that age. That I can relate to.
Yep.
I thought it was fucking funny. The whole movie, we were laughing.
I love the beginning where she was like, "I want to shop at Tootsie's and Aunt Taylor Loft."
The little girl goes, I hope I don't get my period and act crazy. The kids were hilarious.
You're pregnant? Let's get an Asian one. Well, she's not Asian. You're not Asian.
She's like, we can buy one. Yeah, it had a lot of funny lines, and I think, I can see a lot of the problems people have, but, it's entertaining. The Leslie Mann is
I do love Leslie
hilarious and funny, and I still think she should have gotten an Oscar nomination for Knocked Up, but she's just... I really do. I think she's heartbreaking in that movie.
She was great in The Bling Ring. She plays one of the moms. Yeah.
I think she's fantastic, and I think that's kind of her story. Those are her kids in the movie. Her husband wrote it, so I think she is the best person. And Melissa McCarthy is hilarious. The end credit sequence, dying. It's Melissa McCarthy just riffing.
Probably, I'm going to start with Karen Carpenter's head. I'm going to rip her head off, and I'm going to drink her blood. And then I'm going to come back and light you on fire. I'm going to light you all on fire. But I'm going to start with you, Jill. I'm going to fucking torch you.
What is he? She's like, shut up, Jan. Glad your husband's dead. If I were him, I'd kill myself too.
Yeah. She's like, nobody likes her. She's like, I'm going to jackknife you.
I was reading about the review about the second episode, and it was meant to be only a 13-episode miniseries, but now CBS is trying to figure out a way to extend that into a second season, which I'm just like, just let it end. Why does it have to continue?
I guess that's true. I don't know. I started watching... Oh, actually, not to skip over that, but they were doing an article which is really good about all the Stephen King miniseries, and it was rating them, and he's had a lot of miniseries. Like, a lot of his books have been made into miniseries.
The Stand, Tommyknockers.
It. The Langoliers, right? Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
The Langoliers.
The Shining, they made that, which is on the list of the worst, which is terrible.
He just keeps...
Hey, he gotta make some money.
He's just churning them out.
Yeah, I know.
You and I watched. This is 40.
Have you guys seen that yet? Get off your phones.
I have to check my.
I say it. I get a dirty look. You say it. Oh, yeah, sure.
That's how you say it.
Yes, Miss Chastain.
Yeah,
Mistress Chastain.
We watched This Is 40. Rob and I had seen it. We watched.
I hadn't seen it.
Oh, you hadn't seen it?
You and Justin had seen it.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah, I saw it when it came out.
I was super hungover from Pride. I couldn't.
Jordan, have you seen it?
Seen what?
This is 40.
No.
Oh my
I
God.
refused to see it.
No, what did you think, Rob? Because we didn't get to talk. I had to leave before.
You did. You immediately went to a date.
It wasn't a date.
Yes, it was.
Date, quote unquote.
I loved it. From beginning.
What
to
did
end.
you like about it?
You haven't
Because
seen
the trailer to me seemed so
No,
wild.
I didn't see it in the theaters. The trailer just didn't appeal to me.
The reason I didn't want to see it in theaters was I was so disappointed in Funny People that I was like, I can't make it. I can't do another 2.5-hour comedy.
But tell them what's so great about it.
It felt completely relatable about your fears of growing old and these realizations that, fuck, I'm there. The life just, the good years are, getting further and further behind me. And, they have a great family, and, there's some of the struggles that our friends were complaining about. It's like, oh, they should have been more financially dependent at this point. But,
that's just a lot of people have that problem.
I think that's also the point too. Like you said, that not just your youth are your good years. It's just kind of what you make of it. And like you said, I think it's becoming more of a reality now. Like you and I,
we're getting older.
Yeah, you and I just turned 30, and even that
cute. That's so adorable.
Well, no, it's true. And you sort of look at as we get older, it's not like I'm like relating to 6-year-olds, but God, I probably am at this point. But the problems in being in long-term relationships and the things they talk about and the issues they have, it felt very real. And I think one of the things you can hate about the movie, which we've referenced, is they're pretty not 1%ers, but they have a lot of money. Mm-hmm. But the whole point of the movie is they're irresponsible with their money, and they never say it. They're never like, we're irresponsible, but a lot of it is about the things we get from our parents. And he's give his dad like $80,000 over a couple of years to borrow. And it just shows how his financial irresponsibility kind of came from his dad. And so that was one of the things that kind of looped through the whole movie. They both were really irresponsible as a couple. And then, stop squinting those eyes. Jordan.
I'm just hearing first world problems.
Well,
what are your problems?
We must get rid of that bitch of an American girl. Vanished. She must vanish. Make her disappear. Understand?
She didn't eat or drink anything this evening.
And that was a clip from one of my favorite foreign horror films, Suspiria. This is Curtis, and this is Movies, the podcast.
And this is Jordan.
This is Brenda.
This is Rob.
So I know it's been a while since we've seen each other. Let's.
And this is Dan.
Oh, Dan, I'm sorry. Rob's head was blocking me. I forget that you're here sometimes.
It's not that big.
Well, it's foreign horror, so should it be Le Dan?
Le Dan. Then it would be a French horror movie. Not a French horror movie. That is our topic today. It's going to be foreign horror. That's cool. So start getting your lists out. You can go to Slant. They have a wonderful list on the best horror films, but there's a lot of foreign horror.
I
in there.
Googled
from the best from the aughts, and I like how there's American and horror and foreign on that list.
And there's a lot of foreign on this list, which is really cool. So grab your list while we catch up, and that way you kind of know what we're talking about, and you can catch up and get some of your favorites. But let's catch up. What has everyone been doing? What have you been watching?
I've been watching Brian K. Vaughan's Under the Dome.
Oh, is it good? I heard the second episode wasn't as good.
It wasn't, but I like the stage that it's setting. Why the Last Man, the comic book series. I love that comic book series and hope that eventually they will get their shit together and make it into a movie. But I'm enjoying it. I didn't realize it was produced by Steven Spielberg as well. So the only thing that disappointed me...
You look like you're in a bank commercial. She's like, I'm going to stand up and jackknife you too. And what I just
How
realized...
is this movie? I'm gonna immediately Netflix this.
You should.
And you will know on Facebook exactly how I feel about it.
Yeah, it would be like
Minute
3
it is.
paragraphs long on your Facebook.
3?
Are you the one that keeps putting TLDR on my Facebook?
What's
Too
that?
long, didn't read.
You can do that?
You can do that.
Hashtag TLDR.
I was worried.
I got it tattooed.
That it wouldn't be able to do it. You're like, I've been
It's
doing
the
it.
YOLO of a year.
Somewhere where nobody will see it.
Well, I've been
People
doing...
will see it.
Oh, for real.
It's next to my ZQL bottle.
I've been doing a tiny experiment. I have a lot of movies.
It just clicked.
Oh, your sequel. Ugh.
I'll post the picture on the website.
I have a lot of movies, so I
everyone can see it.
decided that I was not going to buy any more movies
Until you've seen...
until I've watched every movie I own.
He went through his list. He went through a stack of movies, and he has 5 or 6 that he has never seen.
Yeah, 8. They're just sitting there. I'd never seen them, and I owned them.
I have way more than 8 because I
No, I mean
worked at a
8,
video store.
8 that I'd never seen.
No, that's what I'm talking
Oh,
about.
seriously?
Yeah, I have a stack of DVDs that I have not watched.
Listen, I went
That
through...
you've never seen, period.
Yeah.
I went through a breakup. Okay, so I found things I didn't know about.
But I found a loop in this deal here. He can't buy movies for himself, but if he wants something, he can buy it for me.
I got Rob a gift. Can we watch this? So I bought Rob for his birthday. Rob just had his... yeah, it was your birthday.
Yeah.
And he just watched the Nightmare on Elm Street documentary called Never Sleep Again.
Which you guys haven't seen.
I've been.
I haven't
Oh,
seen
you
it,
would
but I
love
want to see
it.
it.